Let's get to Jeffy's.
You can't come in this door. Hi.
You say it's awful? Awesome. Oh. Excuse me. You see me again with the language.
Hi, I'm Justin Thomas.
And I'm Amber Thomas.
Welcome to Two Guys in a Comic Book, and we are here today at Otakon.
Justin, did you really enjoy the event today?
It was so awesome. I am so glad to be here, and I had so much fun. How about you, Amber?
I'm really enjoying it. It's fun. I like to see all the costumes and to see how many people have come here for like many, many years since Otakon started.
Yeah, and that was back in '94, actually.
Oh, really? Yeah. I talked to some people, and they said they've been here since the beginning.
Yeah. It's also great to see, about the anime community, how some people have come from different states just to come here, and Otakon is actually ranked as the second largest anime convention in America.
Wow, I did not know that.
Yes. But don't go away, we'll be right back.
Is she Pixie? Good. Well, I'm still trying to figure out the blonde.
Yeah, I don't know. That's as good as mine.
She might be Pixie.
Ask Mike when he gets back up, because then he's down there somewhere.
I won't know. I'm pretty sure I didn't like the formal side of reading most comics.
Oh, Andrew, maybe.
Yeah.
He knows a shit ton of Marvel Universe. My knowledge of Marvel Universe is mainly wiki. Just click a link, click a link, click a link. Did you watch any Log Horizon, Chris? So I'm disappointed. It's Marvel's new form.
Wow, it was great seeing all the stuff going on here. People saying they had such great times, going to see the different guests, also the music performers, and the panels as well.
Definitely, I didn't know so much went on here at Otakon. I didn't know they had the different panels, and it was great to hear from some of the guests, people who were speakers who were coming.
Not only that, but you also have like the game room where people can just like play different games, either like video games or card games and everything, and also there are the different vendors. So much stuff goes on, and even the different merchandise they're selling.
Yeah, I didn't know it was like this. I thought it was more like a party. People come here from all different places. It was cool to hear people from different states come over. They'd come here specifically for Otakon.
Yes. And there's still more to see though.
So don't go away. We'll be right back.
Let's start from zero. The E3 Invitational, we got down to King of Hungry Box. I mean, they're both really good players. He's on the Colombian So he already looks like a tweet. No, zero. Yeah, it was Kurt North was here. And Hungry Box had it.
And you can 5%, like you about to consider all that.
You can sell my first running away.
I appreciate it.
they did, it goes to sudden death. Then it went to sudden death.
They were playing. Yeah, they were playing to the end. I know it was people there. It doesn't happen. A little bit. They go slow roll.
Yeah, they just
They missed the numbers. Yeah. So we would have lost if it was a normal tournament because they're going to be well, the time expired. It's 6%.
And his other match was they were playing items on and they had like 5 smash balls. It's just like, okay, you still eliminate Alpha with 5 smash balls. Get out of it.
I was over for us. So
Everybody
I was
knows
the 10 dude.
everyone up. Already knows. Hey, who's that lost? The ones that won, they already know. I ain't really worried about this is Smash Up.
Oh, brand new game. You can't really. Oh well, you can. Everybody's learning it.
No, he got booed right after that.
Like Nintendo was like,
And our winner is CT0.
and the whole crowd. Everybody was pissed. It was like for real, dude. You're gonna pull that shit. Like everybody wants to see some hype. Like play the fucking game, man. That's just fucking weird.
I ain't even going to wait for these guys. I'm going to start the next set.
Oh, wow.
So number 10.
The thing is, Murray Box is kind of camp, but he goes. It's not like he doesn't sit outside. He'll go in outside. He doesn't just stay for you.
And then the last 2 for each bracket. That's it.
You know, if I'm in a way, just say something. I know my butt is big, but
It's nice to say something. Just say it. Wait, you gotta wait 2 minutes. Round 3 and 4.
Wow, I'm really enjoying this.
Yes, I mean, also seeing all the stuff that's happened, you know, also the art gallery, that was pretty
That's
good.
my favorite part. It's so interesting to see these different pieces that are just inspired by anime characters.
Don't go anywhere, we'll be right back.
I have that.
Is we are going to start out doing a slideshow on all the ins and outs of making an awesome character and how that's possible. Then, what we're going to do is you guys and us are going to make a character together, concept it all out, and we're going to draw it live right here.
There's no telling what sort of Frankenstein monster we're going to produce, but because of the amount of things to get through, please hold your questions until we open the floor. There will be time for them, we promise you, but there is a lot to do. So rather than slowing it up, we're just going to try and roll through this baby.
Exactly. So let's start, I think.
Yes, we'll start by answering the question that many of you are probably asking yourselves right now. Who the hell are we, and why should you listen to a word we have to say?
I am Cumber Love.
And I'm Adam Withers, and together we are the husband and wife action faction responsible for a trio of self-published comic series, The Uniques, The Uniques Tales Anthology, and Rainbow in the Dark.
We've been doing this since 2008, and by 2009 it was our full-time job. And part of the reason that we do these panels is to bring you guys through some of the things that we had to learn in the intervening years.
Yes, we write our books together, we draw them together, we color them together, we letter them together. We do everything you have to do except for hit Control P on the printer. That is somebody else.
That's somebody else's job.
And we're here to share the knowledge we've gained with you about characters.
Characters.
Your character is your characters, plural, are the most important things you're going to be working with. When you're doing a comic, any story you've ever read or watched or experienced, any reason that it moved you probably boils down to because of the characters in the story.
So let's talk about 3 simple rules to making characters and making them awesome.
It can be boiled down to very simple facets. There's a lot of complexity in the layers, obviously, but the simpler you can start thinking in the beginning, the easier all this is going to be. We'll start at the top with personality, which basically means that you want to say as much about your characters as you can in their visuals. You want the visuals of your character to tell us something about who that character is.
You want to actually judge this book by its cover, and that has to do with how the character wears their hair, their clothes, how they talk, how they walk,
how they express themselves physically and visually.
All those things tie into who they are and how we perceive them.
We'll start with clothing, which is the way that we choose to present ourselves to the world. Every morning when you wake up and get dressed, you are wearing a costume. And this costume is designed to tell other people how you want them to think of you. I mean, cosplayers this weekend, kind of obviously, right? But the rest of us too. The way you dress yourself is the way you want to be seen. So when you're designing what your characters wear, how they dress, you're having to balance 2 different things. First, how that character wants the world to see them, and how you, the creator, want the readers to see them.
For instance, when we were doing Rainbow in the Dark, we had a situation where we really wanted to use music as a motif, as something that ties in everybody. So even though they had different styles, they were all drawn together because they all represented a different musical genre.
Right.
From one side to another, we did sort of psychedelic
rock, 80s Britpunk, synth pop and rock, rockabilly. We have punk represented in the book, metal represented in the book. Having some kind of a theme gave us a way to build these characters. How they present themselves is based on the music that drives each individual person.
Right. And together, that helped make a cohesive team even though they were all individual.
When you're working with uniforms, the uniform style needs to say something about the characters too, because in an even more obvious way, they are presenting an image to the world.
Well, and if you look at just the feeling you get, when you look at Superman, you feel hope. When you look at Batman, you feel darkness. And when you look at Punisher, it's just hatred all across the board. I don't know why he...
The skull? I don't know why he did that. Okay. If you look at it, you want to find a way to get the personality out no matter what they're wearing. So even if the characters are all dressed very uniformly, the Soul Reapers and Bleach all wear basically the same thing. Now, Tite Kubo was able to find ways to have each person wear that uniform their own way, so that a little bit of that personality comes out in the clothing. But beyond that, you can also use the physicality of the person under the clothes to stand out further. If you had a group of police officers as your characters in the story, they're going to be dressed identical, but they still have to stand out as individual people.
But for you guys here, especially in my anime shows, hair ain't good enough. When you've all got the same face, and just the hair color changes, not enough.
Especially if you're going to be working in black and white. I mean, if you shaved all these bras' heads, other than some pointy ears, they're identical. You can't tell the difference. Compare that with Samurai Champloo, which is still a very simple, streamlined style, very animated style of illustration. But if you shave their heads, they are still individuals. And it's small details. It's not a big thing. It's little things. The shape of the nose, the way the eyes are set in the face, the chin, that jawline.
And even the three of them carry themselves all distinctly different.
Yeah, the posture difference between Mugen and Jean is night and day. So look for little ways that you can accentuate the personality of your characters, little ways they can carry themselves to set them apart from each other.
Body types are different.
Yes, just like the faces. You can't just draw the same face over and over and change the hair. You can't just draw the same body over and over and over and change the clothes.
Like in superhero comics, not every lady is a super busty, long-haired lady. In your mangas, in your animes, not every boy is super skinny and effeminate.
Yes, variety, baby. It's the spice of life. When you look around, everybody you see is shaped differently. Walking down the street, everybody in this room, at this show, you are going to see a more diverse populace of human form than you'll find a lot of other places. You should be trying to reflect that same diversity in your comics.
As a matter of fact, look at Olympian builds. All these people do different things that their bodies have to be built differently for. A wrestler is going to look different than a gymnast or a swimmer. You need to figure out what your character does and physically what that body shape is going to require.
You want to let that character speak for themselves. The question that you should always be asking at every step of the character design process is, over and over, who is this person? That is the thing that drives every step of design. Who are they? What are they like? And how can I show that? With Death Note, you have a very interesting situation where your antagonist is the villain of the story.
You mean your protagonist?
It's 7 o'clock. I haven't eaten yet. Cut me loose. Yes, Light goes through a transformation over the course of this series. And it is a wonderful use of very subtle quirks that they use. Because he sees himself as the hero. He sees himself as a genius, as the only one fit to make decisions for the world.
As a matter of fact, when you're reading or you're watching Death Note early on, you get some of those points where you're not sure if you want Light to succeed or to fail. Like if anybody's seen the series and you've seen when he's going up against that lady cop whose husband died, she's trying to figure out who's killing people.
Yeah, you desperately want him not to get caught, but you desperately want her not to get hurt. Like the dissonance that you start to feel as an audience is reflected through the characters as well. Because at first, Light comes off like the way he very carefully grooms himself, the very professional way he presents himself, comes off as very slick, very nice, very on top of it, very together. But over time, it just starts to feel cold. it just starts to feel like there's this wall between him and the rest of the world.
Right.
Like he's inhuman after a while.
And Light 2 is made to feel like your general hero to start with because he is poised, he is proper. But really, L, who don't give a damn, he's our real hero. of the
L, who
story.
has a closet full of the same white shirt and the same L, who probably has suckers stuck in his hair. L, who has never met a brush he liked. Here's a character who doesn't care at all about hygiene or personal grooming. He doesn't care how people see him because nobody sees him. His intellectual pursuits dominate every choice he makes at every moment of the day. And all of those things are presented in a character who's kind of creepy, really standoffish, a little bit gross and weird. But over time, as you get to know him, all of those same elements become endearing and charming and funny and goofy, and you laugh with him and you love the guy. And it's the same things, the exact elements that make Light look heroic in the start, make him look villainous at the end. And this is how personality through character design can be used by a clever team of writers and artists to change a character completely in
Over the course
story,
of
over
the
time.
series. So when you're doing your characters, take into account, you know what? Don't be drawing Power Girl and Emma Frost like you would Catwoman or Psylocke.
Who are they?
Right.
What are they like, and how can their design reflect that?
And they do two different kinds of things. Two are athletic, two aren't. You can make two have huge boobs. That's cool.
Fine, those people exist. But at the same time, that shouldn't be all you draw. We're talking about diversity. We're not talking about getting rid of body types. We're not talking about getting rid of things that you don't like. We're talking about showing the full spectrum of humanity. But on the last note of shall we say, honesty, fairness, trust between you and your readership, you should absolutely not be drawing Wonder Girl and Pixie the way that you would draw Emma Frost and Power Girl.
You need to make sure that your characters look the age they are as well. We may be a teenager and we may want to just draw teenagers. Well, I'm sorry, if you're drawing your grandma, she's not going to look a teenager.
Yeah, yes. There are a lot of uncomfortable things done with the illustration of teenagers in comics, and don't be part of that problem. Do not want this. Cable here, our good buddy Cable, poor, suffering, tiny ankled Cable. This is a character who is covered in superfluous detail. It does nothing to enhance your understanding of who the character is. It does nothing to enhance your understanding of what he's about other than like military, but you could have done that with half this much junk. He becomes defined by the clutter, not by the character. By contrast, we have the Flash, perhaps the best superhero costume ever designed.
When you look at this character, everything about him says sleek and speed. Just the colors that they chose versus Cable, who has several colors. Flash has 3. Red, yellow, and just a little bit of white. And that
one
red,
dominant color, an accent color, maybe a secondary accent. That's all you really need. Even if you're doing plain clothes, try and simplify those color schemes. Not to like Power Rangers degree, where like Billy just has a closet full of blue shirts. To a degree that you can, find a color range that fits the character. With Flash, they chose red as a dominant color for Flash because in the 50s, like, red was the color of sports cars, man. And sports cars were the fastest thing going. So if you thought of fast things, you thought of red. And Flash himself has become such a definitive character that now comic people think of red as the color of fast because of Flash. Red has become a color of speed because of a comic book character who is trying to ape our feelings from sports cars.
but also when you're doing these kind of things, know when to stop.
Yes. Oh, you must. You must learn to say when.
Okay, so even if this might be drawn slightly better, let's say, in some people's taste, than the last one, there's a lot of superfluous detail on here that doesn't need to be.
Yeah, DC redid their whole line in what they called the New 52, and they put on a master class of what not to do when designing characters. Because they took that classic, beautiful, sleek wonderful design, and they just covered it in lines for no reason. It doesn't add anything cool to the way the character looks. It doesn't add anything important to the way that that costume functions. And it doesn't tell you any more about his personality than it did before, but it takes you 10 times as long to draw every time. It's an eyesore. Know when to stop.
What we like to ask is, does it work as a cartoon? We like to simplify the things to say, if this looks good, it's probably going to look good in that detailed style.
If you oversimplify, if you take it even further to that extreme and see how it looks, whenever we are designing characters for Uniques, when we've got a design we really like, we then do an animated version. And if it works in the animated style and in our more detailed style, then it's probably a pretty solid design. But if we're finding that we have to strip tons of stuff away to make it work animated, then we probably have too much stuff in that design to begin with. There are always going to be times, though, when you need more detail. This is the tricky point of simplicity. What do you need? No matter how well you draw a classic Iron Man, he's never going to look as good as when you do the full tech detail.
Right. Classic Iron Man looks like a weird guy in a weird suit that maybe is a robot, I don't know.
It doesn't work the same. It doesn't look as good. You have to find how much detail you need to sell the character.
So let's talk about the last thing, which is utility. What do your characters use and why?
Everything you draw on your character should be there for a reason. Either because the character uses it in some way, or because it's speaking to the character's personality in some significant way.
When we do our character Scout in the Uniques, every single thing he has as a Gadgeteer character has a purpose. We laid it out, we know.
We did his entire utility belt and figured out what was in every pouch. We worked out the whole harness and how that worked and what he carried inside of it. It was both a way of making sure that we only drew what was necessary, a way of making sure that every time we drew him, it was the same from any angle, because we know what's on that belt at every angle. And it even gave story ideas, because when you're coming up with these different gadgets, and you're like, oh, that's a neat thing, we'll have to make sure there's a scene where he gets to use that. So it can help you as a writer.
So Justin, what was your favorite part of the event?
Oh, man, that's so hard. I mean, the panelists were amazing, you know, and also seeing some of the voice actors come here today, you know, and even, you know, just being able to be around the other guests, you know, seeing different cosplayers, you know, taking pictures with them. It was amazing.
Well, my favorite part was definitely seeing some of the voice actors I had seen on kids shows that when I was really little, like Brace Face and all the other different like spy shows I used to watch when I was little.
It started small. Then it went global. Gamers from North America coming together with gamers from all around the world, from all walks of life, getting together to play games for 24 hours and raise money to help cure sick kids. With all funds raised staying local with Children's Miracle Network hospitals and partner hospitals internationally. For more info or to sign up, visit www.extra-life.org. Play games, heal kids.
Thanks for coming today to watch Two Guys in a Comic Book. I hope you enjoyed yourself, Amber.
I really did. It was great to be at Otakon.
Well, until next time, I'm Justin Thomas.
And I'm Amber Thomas.
And we'll see you next time. Bye.
You guys start Trek Shaky Cam?